The Whispering Mountain by Joan Aiken, Chapter 3. Owen suddenly realized that he was awake and listening to low voices. In fact, he had been vaguely aware of them for some minutes, but had thought they were part of a dream. "Blow my glazes," somebody whispered. "Here's a rummy set-out. I never in all my days saw a ken so full of halfpenny stuff. Not a thing here worth prigging." All in a moment, 3 words jerked Owen into full wakefulness. "Keep your fambles in your pockets, Cully," another voice murmured warningly. "We're not supposed to prig anything except this blessed bandor, this harp of Terra 2, or as likely as not we'll end up in the Queekin." All right, complained the first voice. "Stop grunching at me. I can look about, I suppose, anyway. Where is this here sanitary harp?" Owen felt a cold draft on his legs. Someone had pushed open the library door. He saw 2 pairs of feet approaching, feet whose clumsy leather boots had been bound with strips of rag to muffle their noise. Somebody carried a lantern. A circle of dim light swam across the floor. "Not in here, but books," whispered the first voice. "Stow your crash, Dotty Paul. What's that on the table covered with a caster? I'll lay a brace of demmies, that's the harp." The feet were right beside Owen now. He lay under the table, paralyzed with indecision and sheer surprise. How had these men managed to enter? Who were they? And where was his grandfather? "So-ho! What did I say?" the first voice whispered with satisfaction. "This is the bandor, all right." "That pitiful kickshaw? The harp of Terry 2? There's all this rumpus about? Why, it's as black as my brogue, and has but 1 catling left. That's it, just the same, no question. There's letters on it that his worship said to look for." "Give it here, then. I'll carry it, and you duck the jigger." In a flash, Owen understood that he must act, and at once. "Hey, don't you dare touch that harp, he shouted. "Hey, don't you dare touch that harp," he shouted, rolling out from under the table. The 2 thieves were startled almost out of their wits. One of them let out a yelp and dropped his lantern, which went out. The other, who had been able to pick up the harp, jumped toward the door, but there he paused. The room was still dimly lit by Owen's rush dip flickering on the table. "Why," he said in relief and disgust, "what mugs we are! He's not but a kidgeon, no bigger than a sparrow. Clobber him, Blick." "Hell's bellikins, I will," growled the other. A large black shape approached Owen, who, shaking with fright and determination, had taken up his position in front of the harp. Ducking, he evaded a blow which whistled past his head, and dodged away, yelling loudly, "Grandfather! Grandfather! Wake up! Bring the blunderbuss! Thieves! Call the watch! Thieves!" in hope of scaring off the intruders. "Stow your marauding, you little chaffer. It's no manner of use roaring for the old gadger. Anyways, he won't come, I can tell you. Wake up! Lucky if he wakes up before Turpentine Sunday." Desperately, Owen shook a heavy hand from his arm, seized one of the burglars by his coat, and butted him with all his strength in the stomach. The man let out a ghastly crowing yell, and staggered backward against the wall, completely winded. Owen's triumph did not last, however. The other man clutched him round the throat, exclaiming, "Would you, then, you little whippersnapper? Stall down, or I'll trine you with your gallyslops." His grip tightened till the room whirled round in green and black flashes. With a frantic effort, Owen broke free, and, snatching up a volume of sermons that must have weighed 15 pounds, thumped his assailant with it. Gaspingly, he continued to shout, "Thieves! Help! Thieves! Blow the varmint! He'll have the mace-mongers on us yet. Here, Bilk. For Pittercock's sake, give us a hand. Don't just stand there mammering." The other man, having recovered his breath, came back into the fight and dispatched Owen by one convulsive blow that knocked him half across the room. As he went down, both men flung themselves on him, pummeling and belaboring. His glasses fell off when he was thrown on his face, and, with a sick feeling of despair, he heard them crunch under somebody's foot on the stone floor. "Right then," the man called Bilk, breathing heavily. "Tie his fambles with summat. Tear a strip off his shirt, that's a dandy, and shove a clout in his gan so he can't yammer any more. Owen's hands were dragged behind him and tied violently tight. Somebody's cheese-smelling neckerchief was stuffed into his mouth. "Got your shiv, Prigman? Spit him, then, like a partridge. We don't want him telling our names to the constables. You'd no call to go shouting bilk like that, you fool." "Must I spit him?" Prigman objected, sounding uneasy. "You do it. I never relishes spitting a cove in cold blood." "Dang it, man! Go on, spike him." "Hold up," Prigman said quickly. "Here's a bit of writing stowed under the harp." "What's it say, then? You're sharper at reading guide than I am. Spell it out. But spit him first." However, Prigman read the letter aloud first, with a good many fumblings and stumblings. "Well, by a ladybird," he said when he had come to the end, "if that ain't providentical. Here's our young sprout, just about ready to run off his own very self with this here tinkerplink. 'Dear grandpa, I'd be sorry to be obliged to carry off some of your property,' he says. 'Cool, I calls that, cool as a cowsley cumber.'" The other man, Bilk, gave a short, deep chuckle. "Cooler no, it serves our turn," he said. "Here, stow the paper back where you left it, and we'll mizzle and take young Tantony with us. Then we can scrag him and leave him in a hugger somewhere out on the mountain. Everyone'll think he done the prig. That's it, Bilk, that's it." Prigman was skipping about as the full beauty of the situation dawned on him. "And I'll tell you something else. Stow your wids now, for Muzzy's sake. Let's get clear from here afore we pollywow. You carry the boy, I'll take the Bancore. Is all straight? We don't want anyone suspicious as there's been a... We don't want anyone to suspicion as there's been a mill here." The two men hastily put the room to rights, returning the volume of sermons to a shelf and kicking Owen's broken spectacles under the table. Prigman, who seemed enormously strong in spite of his short stature, slung Owen on his shoulder. Bilk put the harp in a large canvas bag together with Owen's bundle, and the two men left the museum by the back door, locking it behind them and tossing the key into a little brook which ran down the mountain to join the river Gaff. The gale had blown itself out, and a watery moon was struggling from behind ragged clouds. The two men picked their way over the rough hillside to a gully in which a couple of ponies were tethered, and Owen was hoisted onto one of them. Prigman mounted behind him. Bilk threw a leg over the other pony, and they trotted away round the mountain. For a long time Owen was hardly conscious of where they were going. Several hours went by, and at last, by degrees, daylight began to filter into the sky. A cool, fresh wind, smelling of leaves and water, blew into their faces, and presently helped to revive Owen, who slowly raised his head and looked about him. They were traveling along the side of a small, deep valley, not far above the tree line. Above them, the grassy mountainside ran up to scree, and then to crags. Below lay thick oak woods. When they reached the head of the valley, they crossed the stream which had cut it so deep, at a point where it was only a brooklet, easily fordable by the sure-footed ponies. Presently they turned a corner of hill into a second valley, threaded that, and so into a third, sometimes riding close beside the rushing streams in the valley bottoms, more often hundreds of feet above. Great birds, buzzards or eagles, soared above. Sometimes they heard the grunt and thump of a wild boar digging for roots in the woods below. To Owen, without his glasses, everything seemed a confused, dazzling blur. The trees in their autumn colors of